Lad McConkey, 6 foot, 185, out of Georgia. Now, again, another phenomenal route runner, really impressive short area quickness, and I think better speed to boot than perhaps I expected. But then slight concerns, again, as we talked about with AD Mitchell, about where's the consistent production? Is he only going to be a slot only at the next level, or can he carve out much more of a role? Are you one of these that's a big believer in McConkey in the route running, or do you see some of those concerns?
I am generally in on McConkey. The production is a weird one because it's like on a per target basis, he's very good, and per route basis, he's very good. But for whatever reason, he didn't run that many routes, injury, whatever's going on. It's a little bit almost like we have this corollary now where we can say this is almost like a Puka Nacua profile in a little bit, like where after Puka Nacua started breaking out, everyone like revisited his profile and went like, oh, well, actually his per route numbers and per target numbers are like really good if you just like isolate just those. But for whatever reason, it was happening there. Puka Nacua wasn't running all the routes and all that. But everybody in the film community, this is another one. Everyone in the film community is like smooth route runner, really good on the football field, does everything, gets handoffs, can run out of the formation wherever. He's not just like a slot only player because he has we now see like the legit speed and route running on the outside. Maybe he has to, in certain matchups, play a little bit more slot because the corners are able to press him. I think that's really going to be like the big thing for him once he gets the pros, is if he can beat the press. But maybe he can be the slot flanker role who, in 2 wide receiver sets, steps outside, but doesn't play like the split end, doesn't have to actually line up on the line, so he can avoid the press a little bit more, but come inside when there's 3 wide receivers out there. The testing was just like really great, obviously. I like a lot of people were like, he's faster than you think, but like those people even were like, he's not running a 4.39. They didn't see that. But like looking at, so like in the JWB Discord, we run a daily rookie draft mock and then track the results. So we have like pre-combine ADP. We're still loading up enough drafts post-combine before we feel comfortable putting out the ADP. But like pre-combine in our ADP, he was the 208, which is pretty low, I would say. Now, after the combine, I expect him to come up, but if he's still only coming up a little bit, like I'm definitely going to be in Lad McConkey. I think he's probably going to end up being like an early 2nd round pick for me. I really like the player. If he only moves up to mid 2nd round, I'm probably going to have a lot of him.
Yeah, again, I feel like I can kind of repeat everything I said about AD Mitchell for Lad McConkey. I like a lot of what I see. I like the route run, and I think his ability versus zone. And now you mentioned Puka Nacua, and I feel like I don't want to be that person that says anything about Puka Nacua because he was such a freak. We're not going to repeat it. But the thing that Puka was so good the second he stepped on an NFL field was that he fully understood defensive concepts and understood how to beat zone coverage from day one. And I kind of feel like Lad McConkey could be that guy. Like, there's not very often in college you see guys that have a nuanced understanding of where the subset's going to be, but almost that sort of subtle drift into space away from defenders, which McConkey does really well. The production worries me, as you said. He had really good like per route numbers, but overall he never felt like a true centerpiece of the offense. He was always kind of a bit part. On the slot only thing, I think too much has been made of slot only. Is he an outside receiver? To me, receivers are one of 2 things. You're either an X, as you said, you're that split end that can line up on line of scrimmage, can beat press coverage, and can be that kind of prototypical guy, or you're a flanker Z slot. Like, to me, they're the same role now. There's no like 10 years ago in the NFL, it was you're an X, you're a Z, you're a slot. Z and slot are basically merged, and it's almost there's now no longer 3 types of receiver, it's 2 types of receiver. And I think that McConkey will probably do his best work out of the slot, but as you said, in 2 wide receiver sets, he can go into that flanker role, he can go and play the Z and be fine with it. I don't know. I guess my concern with him is he going to be a guy that is going to be able to be fantasy relevant. And when I say that, I mean like top 36 fantasy. Yes, of course, he's going to be in the flex range. I don't know if he's going to be able to be fantasy relevant unless he's being force fed 130 plus targets. You know, if he ends up as a wide receiver 2 on a team and sees 100 targets, is he only going to be a flex worthy consideration? And if I'm having to spend probably top 15, top 16 pick on him, is there another player that I should rather go and chase the upside that I can get, a little bit more sexiness, shall we say? Yeah, he's probably going to bust more, but there's that potential upside of that top 12 overall player. So I think I'm probably going to end up slightly below consensus on McConkey, but I'm struggling to come down on any firm opinion, shall we say?
I'll say, like, I like your comparison to AD Mitchell. I do think they are like similar prospects in that way. The difference for me being that like AD Mitchell's probably a draft in the first round. You don't have to do that with Ladd. So like if I'm going to take the bet on the production's not quite there, but I like a lot of the other things, like Ladd's the one for me. You are right though, like you do have to worry about like what the potential ceiling actually is. I think the NFL draft will tell us a little bit about that too. Like I'm kind of baking into my process that he's probably going to be an early second round pick based on being able to test as well as he did. If that's the case, like I'm going to feel comfortable with what I'm saying right now. If he falls, like say he's a third round pick, like I'm definitely going to be starting to rethink that, because then the NFL is telling me they don't really see him as a high ceiling player, or as high of a ceiling player as I maybe think he is. So yeah, we'll see.